Good morning, church.
Good morning.
Won't you pray with me today? Gracious and Heavenly Father, let this time of introspection, this time of reflection, this time of breathing in, be about you. Be about the message that you have for each one of us in our hearts. Stir our souls to greater faithfulness and draw us into deeper love for you, for each other, and for your world. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Each week I wrestle with a question, and sometimes I invite you to reflect upon the question. This week I'm going to ask you, at least initially, to think of your first love. You don't have to look to your right or to your left and feel guilty. Jenny and I had this conversation last night. She said, what are we going to be talking about tomorrow? We're going to be talking about God's love. And if we are Christ's people, then that love is reflected in who we are and what we are. And both of us shared a little bit about who we thought our first love was. Do you remember that time? You remember them probably clearly if you had one. Maybe you even believed love at first sight, or something like that. I remember who I felt my first love was. And as I gazed upon her picture, whatever, the picture I'd drawn in my mind of our relationship, it was going to be the ideal, the perfect relationship. And once I exposed my heart, I was sure she would be mine forever. Abandoning all others, forsaking all others, that we would ride off into the sunset. I imagine how the two of us would come together, how we would gaze in each other's eyes and things would be different. And in the custom of the day, I even imagined how we might come together. She maybe on a beach somewhere. I'd place my friend on a white steed and he'd go marching off up to her, passing her that note that was all so important that said, will you go out with me? Check one box. There would be two boxes on there. Of course, the yes would be much bigger, the no almost microscopic. For us, there was only one choice. I'd heard rumors of her being married, but that was irrespective. You see, my first love was Farrah Fawcett. And if that isn't funny to you, go Google her, because you probably have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm told make sure your safe search is on, though, before you do that. Isn't it interesting? The image we have of love. This romantic, Hollywood-generated, see the person for the first time, fall in love, and all will be great from that point. No matter where we go, what we march through, it's almost as if we believe romantically that we either have love or we don't. There's no work involved or required. You see, the human world has constructed this sense of what love means. I'm sure we can love things. We can love other people in non-romantic ways. And one thing that is frustrating in language translation is the Greek, in which the New Testament is written mostly, has three different kinds of love that they use. Phileo, one Greek word, describes a loving bond between two friends, two people, between family members. It's non-romantic in its gestures. That's why Philadelphia is known as the city of brotherly love, Philo. Then there is Eros, named after a Greek goddess. A romantic love that exists between two people that is mostly drawn together initially based on physical bonds that exist. The sense of a romantic, intimate relationship. I fear most of us don't get any farther than that. And in our relationships, either friendships, an expression of filial love or eros love, we find failure and defeat. I'm not sure what happened to the note that I gave to my friend to give to Farah, but it never worked. She never left Lee Majors. Our destinies went in a different direction. So when you hear the term God is love, when we see the words penned today by John about love, I'm cautioning us to kind of put behind this Hollywood idea of what love, this earthly idea of what love is, and to look and reach for something new. This video might explain it best.
Love.
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 Love in this world is pretty messed up.
It asks for a lot and it never returns the favor.
Love, in my world, well, it brings more trouble than it's worth.
In my world, love has felt like
Sabotage.
it flees into the night. It leaves at the first sign of trouble.
And it never feels like I love you no matter what.
Because love in my world, it leaves.
And when it leaves, there's only disaster left.
No promises a lot, but it doesn't deliver much. It breaks hearts.
I've picked up the pieces of my broken heart one too many times.
So I build walls.
Love isn't worth the tears.
The pain, the loneliness.
The surrender. It's exhausting.
Even when you try to do love right, love fails.
I have made a mess out of love.
What good is it?
Can't help me.
Why love at all? Why do I even try to love?
Why sacrifice to carry the burden?
Why? Why?
Why?
Why? Because there is a perfect love.
Perfect love that can end the disaster.
A perfect love that can heal the brokenhearted.
There is a love that saved those who are dwelling in this messed up world. God tells us about it because we wouldn't recognize it if it showed up on our own doorstep.
It's a love that takes its time.
It's profound.
It doesn't brag or badmouth.
God's love is like a shield that we know will never leave us.
That you can trust.
Hoping, and you never, ever exhausted.
That's his kind of love.
And it never fails.
And while we were keeping records of wrongs and self-seeking and being unkind, he still died for us.
How can I love like that?
How can I love like that?
How can I love like that?
Because I am loved like that.
I can love well, not because of me, but because he first loved me.
I thought about did it again. I thought about what's the best expression of this? What's the best way I can come to know a love that has no strings attached, no conditions? It's not a contract that if you do this, I'll do this. In what way can I come to understand the way the Father, Jesus, and the Spirit look upon me? I wrestled with this question a little bit. This agape love, this God-like love between God in all parts God and humanity. Last evening, we had the blessing of being able to watch our granddaughter, who's 22 months. And when we showed up to babysit, Mom and Dad were headed off to dinner. It was dinner time. Jenny and I had stopped at Max and Irma's and picked up some meals. We sat down at the table with Brooklyn, our granddaughter, and I opened up my carton, and her eyes lit up. She smiled. She looked at me and said, "Grandpa Joe, French fry." Mom quickly jumped into the scene that quickly would turn to tragedy. "No, honey, you've got to eat your chicken and your green beans and your sweet potatoes before you get any French fries from Grandpa Joe." Grandpa Joe? Wanting to support Mom and Dad, I said, "No, honey, let's eat some chicken and some green beans." Never saw a kid eat so fast in my life. "Grandpa Joe, I tried." So I gave her one. And I thought for a minute as I looked upon those eyes, this person who has yet to even discover a world of sin, this must be how the Father looks at us. This must be the way in which God says, "Yeah, that's who you were created to be." Beautiful, pure. Notice Jesus' words in the Gospel of John. But more interestingly, notice where they occur. As I perused the Gospels this week over this concept of love, totaling up the three forms of Philios, Eros, and Agape love, I find Matthew expresses 15 times in his Gospel. Mark 7, Luke 10, the Gospel of John 39. The interesting thing is, only 5 times does he use the term until Jesus is sitting at the Last Supper table. It's almost as if John can't help but express from this community of conversation that's been going on. It's clear by his gospel that the debate in the community might have been, okay, wait a minute. So Jesus is in human form. How can you claim he's God? John burst forth on the scene, right? In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God. And the light came into the world, and all that came into being came into being. It's almost as if Jesus existed at all time. The birth was an implantation into Mary, not a creation. That Jesus is indeed God. And I almost sense from a community that says, okay, wait a minute. God came and lived and walked amongst us. Why? God not only came and lived and walked amongst us, God died for us on a cross. And that story starts at the Last Supper table in all the Gospels. It spends so much time on it. And in John's Gospel, this very long speech that takes up chapter after chapter after chapter, can't be told without one word being reiterated over and over and over again. Because he loves us. He died on a cross that you would know the extent of that love. He said it in the scripture reading that was read for us today. No greater love is there than this, than to lay down one's life for one's friends. And then within 24 hours, died on a cross. It's It's almost as if John understands that the outpouring of a body broken and blood shed is an outpouring of love into the world. That despite all the ways in which it has been cast imperfectly, God's expression of this on the cross has one meaning. Because he first loved me. That it's bound in a message of forgiveness, of grace. This child can do no wrong. It's almost as if he speaks from the cross the same words he spoke at the table that day. You did not choose me. I chose you. I handcrafted you and molded you and made you beautiful, fearless, loved. And how we distort that message in so many ways is, well, strange. That love comes with no strings attached, that we express ourselves and give ourselves if we are to love in agape-like ways. Remember, love is not what you have. Love is what you do. It's an action. It doesn't count rights and wrongs. It doesn't keep a scorecard. It doesn't look upon with conditions based on physical features, based on behaviors, based on beliefs. It's one that the community is called to in deep ways, and what's called the love chapter of 1 Corinthians 13, read at many weddings. Love is patient, love is kind. But see, even Paul is talking to the community, not to a couple. It is a belief in something greater. Then as I look at this text, I see, as I heard again today, I am the vine, my Father is the gardener, and he prunes. He sets boundaries for safety. He trims off all that is not God, so that that which is of God can grow in beautiful ways. I'm not a gardener, but I understand the concept. But at times, he allows the hurt and the pain in our lives to trim us, to expose us, so that we can grow into something more full, more fulfilling. He trims away the plans that we have, the love that we thought, the person that was perfect for us, maybe in the beginning only to expose the right one. But the boundaries are set for our safety, our security, and our growth. So in the end, what we grow up to be is what he created us to be. We're not slaves of it. We're friends of it. Abide in me, just as I abide in the Father. Let us live in harmony and community together, just as I live in harmony and community with the Holy Spirit and the Father. And not only abide in me, but abide in my love. Not about keeping commandments and checking it off, which would have been the Jewish belief, but of following in because of what we have already discovered. A love that will not let us go. Remain in me is a reminder to remain in community, in belief, in trust. All of us have seen shadows of this in our lives. An animal that loves us unconditionally. A young child who's so innocent and untainted. Interestingly, last night I learned I wasn't the only softie in the group. We had a lot of fun playing, but bedtime came. And Brooklyn is getting smart. Grandpa, let's go downstairs and play. Grandma starts to pull out pajamas, running from sleep. But the ritual, we played for a bit, and the ritual went to bed, and Jenny laid Brooklyn down. And she started wailing and crying, and I look up the stairs, and Jenny's standing at the top outside her bedroom just doing this. Grandma, hold me. She'll call for anyone she remembers. Grandpa! She started recanting the fun of the things that we played with. And the wailing and the crying went on. My son said, you just gotta bear through it. It's been worse since she was sick, and put her back in the bed, and, you know, she's gotta get some boundaries. And I look up, my wife is just in tears. And she's wailing and crying, and then all of a sudden it stops. I looked up, Jenny wasn't standing there, and I looked down at the monitor, and I see this adult hand going to the crib, holding her hand. Grandma's pretending to be asleep next to her. She's recanting the day and then looking over to see if Grandma's awake. I wondered if that's what it's like with God. That in our times of trouble, in our times of wanting, all we have to do is take his hand and find the strength and the comfort that takes us through the troubling times. A love that will not let us go, that sets no conditions, that invites us to remain in me. One more funny story. So Jenny gets a chance to see Brooklyn a lot more than I do. And this week, she showed up. They were having dinner together with my sons. And the other grandma was there. And they were already upstairs at the table having a tea party. And Grandma Jenny walks in and she says, "Oh, what are we doing?" "Grandma Barb and I are having a tea party." Jenny says, "Can I join?" Brooklyn and Grandma Barb are wearing tiaras. That's the type of party this is. And Brooklyn says, "Yeah, Grandma, grab a crown and have a seat." Imagine that's what it's going to be like when we pass from this life. And we sit at the table. Grab a crown and have a seat. That's what this table that we have open always represents. A body broken and blood shed that you might know the extent of God's love. There is no greater love than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. Folks, if we are to embody this type of love into the world, we are to go in here without condition, without expression. We're to realize that at times the world is going to be cruel. Now let me be clear. If you are in an abusive relationship, I'm not telling you to go back. But I think the world can change. If our hearts, our intentions, our mission, our ministry, both within the community and within the world, is built on one thing: unconditional love. One without strings attached. One that believes that we are stronger together to invite others to remain in Him. his love, so that their joy might be made complete. Would you pray with me as we invite you to come to the table and imagine what it's like again to wear a crown. Gracious and holy God, we thank you for the gifts of this bread and this juice, symbols of a body broken and blood shed, but more importantly, an invitation to a table where all are welcome. Come, Holy Spirit, on both these gifts and each one who receives them, that we might be made one, that we might be grafted into the vine, to remain forever, to be nourished, to be strengthened, to be made fruitful. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. You are